Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Throw Like a Girl Radio, WBCR's first all-female sports talk show here on Brooklyn College Radio every Tuesday from 4 to 5 p.m. I'm Alyssa Paolicelli.
And I'm Galante.
So here's what's going on in the world today. Parts of the Northeast and Midwest see record low temperatures, while the White House prepares for a possible shutdown of Homeland Security. And Sunday wasn't a good night for the Oscars. The show's rating hit a 6-year low. In sports, the Grizzlies ended the Clippers' 4-game winning streak. Plus, on the ice, the Ducks come from behind to beat the Red Wings in a shootout. Messy commute predicted in parts of the Southeast. A winter storm is forecast to dump snow on the Rocky Mountains and beaches in the Carolinas today. The system is not as strong as yesterday when it canceled 1,000 flights, closed hundreds of schools, and caused problems on the roads. A messy commute due to snow and ice and rain is expected in parts of Georgia, Tennessee, and the Carolinas. Parts of the Northeast and the Midwest continue to see record cold because of an Arctic blast. New York, New Jersey hit a low of 2 degrees today. That broke previous records set 79 years ago. Other records fell in Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Ohio, and Portland, Maine. Burlington, Vermont reached a low of negative 19 degrees. In Texas, an American Airlines plane taxiing into a terminal at Fort Dallas Worth International Airport slides off the taxiway and becomes stuck in the grass. A spokesperson for the FAA tells KXAS-TV that the front nose gear slipped off the taxiway as the plane turned the corner.
All right, so this is Kara. So thank you again for tuning into Throw Like a Girl Radio. Myself and Alyssa are with you for the next hour. You can listen to us in a number of different ways. First, by streaming off of mywbcr.com or downloading the TuneIn Radio app and searching Brooklyn College Radio. Make sure you are following us on all of our social media accounts. Facebook.com/throwlikeagirl. On Twitter, @throwlikeA_girl. And Instagram, throwlikeagirlradio. We have a great show for you today. In the world of baseball, A-Rod sends out yet another apology to the baseball community. Get ready for some warm weather because spring training is about to start. Plus, the MLB announces new rules to speed up the game. Will this hurt the MLB? And later, we'll be talking about some hockey. What's going on with the Rangers with the trade deadline looming? Will they give a contract extension to Zook? Plus, Ginger Scaps made his NHL debut over the weekend against the Buffalo Sabres. How did the 20-year-old rookie do? Also, we have injury updates. So the phone number to call is 718-951-4444. Don't forget, this is a number you can always call in and join our conversation at any point during the hour. The number is 718-951-4444. Okay, Alyssa, what would you like to start with?
Let's start with some spring training.
Yeah.
Today was the first day that all members of every baseball team was supposed to report to their spring training facility. So that means all the Mets and all the Yankees, including A-Rod, is now down in the Yankees are in Tampa,
Yeah,
and
they're
the
in
Mets
Tampa.
are in Port St. Lucie.
Yes.
So the full team workout isn't until Thursday, but today was the big media day as far as everyone arriving. A lot of the players got there early. So so that's the game. The season's right around the corner.
Yes, I'm excited.
Can't wait.
Yes.
Can't wait for the warm weather. It
Yeah,
is
me too.
freezing outside, and I know that the return of baseball is the return of warm weather. So
Yes, I'm excited.
it gives a dual reason to be excited about it.
So, Terry Collins addressed the media, too, and he said some things on WFAN's Ed Coleman show. He was talking about the high expectations he has for the Mets. So here's a little audio about what he said.
You know, what we accomplished last year with the fact that we didn't have our number one starter, we didn't have our closer, our third baseman played hurt most of the season. We had to move. We juggled at first base, and there was a lot of things at the end of the season that we thought were pretty impressive to see. The back end of the bullpen changed. Some of our young pitching came up and did an outstanding job. Our center fielders, wins a Gold Glove. Our first baseman comes into his own. There's a lot of positives going into the offseason. And I said, hey, it's time. We've been sitting around for 4 years asking everybody to be patient, even the players. Hey, this is it's not going to happen overnight. Well, it's time. We got guys now that have been in the big leagues for 4 and 5 years. It's time for them to step up and play the game the way everybody expects it to be played.
So that was Terry Collins. This is on, let's see, what day was this? This was on the 23rd, so just the beginning, yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
I was like, what's today?
Yeah.
So yesterday
I'm so
he
bad
addressed
with days.
he addressed the media yesterday, but it's about, I don't know. There's something about Terry Collins. I want him to be my grandfather, but I don't know
I
if
know,
I
me
want
too.
him
He's
to
adorable.
be managing the Mets. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
there's
he's very much of a micromanager.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a lot of the complaints that Mets fans and probably the players have as well.
But he's been doing, I think he's been doing such a good job with the team with what he was given. But when he said that we've been waiting 4 years, Terry, I've been waiting for about 10 years for this. I don't know where you guys got 4 years from, but I've been waiting 10 years for the Mets to at least make a wild card spot or the playoffs.
Something.
So I don't even know.
Something.
Last time was 2006.
Yep.
So when he said 4 years, I got a little bit angry at that. Because come on, Terry, like be realistic here. I've been waiting a very long time for a good team to come to be.
And that's actually interesting you bring that up because Sandy Alderson had some comments about the team as well. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this is the problem I have with the Mets organization. A lot of the time, I feel like the GM makes a lot of the calls that happen on the field. And I think that for the way I look at sports is it's the GM's job to give the coach the tools. The coach is the person who decides what to do with those tools.
Yeah. The GM finances
Right.
everything.
Exactly. And he figures out who he can afford, where they can fill a role in the team. But
Yeah.
he was talking about how the pitching regimen for Harvey coming back and talking about like they're not looking into a 6-man rotation for pitching, and I'm like, that's for personally, I don't think that's your call. That's up to the pitching staff. That's up to the collaboration with all the other coaching staff, not so much the GM. Like, just work on getting us a shortstop, and then we can talk.
Yeah, we'll work on getting us a decent amount of players to put on the field, work on the product. But, Sandy, also, last year, I remember, you promised us 90 wins, Sandy.
And now he's promising 89.
Yeah, so
like, literally,
we gotta
he
win
says 89.
now. So you really have high expectations again this year. So he's like, we have the talent, but the talent has to be consistent and produce. And if they don't produce, then we're not going to get these 90 wins. And plus injuries also have always hurt us in the past too. Well, like with David Wright, for example, with his shoulder injury from last year, right now he's 32 years old. And I love David Wright. He was my first baseball crush, I have to admit. But we have to come to the reality that he is getting older and he's not the player that he used to be.
Speaking of baseball crush, he also, next to Mike Piazza, he was probably a close second.
My first was actually, I think my first was Mike Piazza, and then when David Wright came on the team, it was my second.
Over this past summer, so David Wright just got engaged recently, and
he actually got married.
He got married this offseason?
Last December.
Okay.
They've been married for a year now.
So this summer then, I helped his wife, which was, she came in, because I work in the retail store downstairs, and she came in, and she was, looking for some of his stuff for some of their family members, and it was just, because she has her, all the players' families get this pass, and, they get a bigger discount than employees. Don't ask me how, because when their payroll is much bigger than ours.
And
but
the wife is a model, so she can obviously afford a Mets t-shirt.
So it was just very, very weird help. I'm like, oh wow, like your husband was one of my Mets crushes, and I'm helping you find some stuff for him. Yeah.
Wait, her name's okay, I know her name. I'm sorry.
And she was kind of
guys
rude.
Are watching. Yeah, her name's Molly Beers.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry.
She's very pretty. She's gorgeous. She's gorgeous.
She's a model, but
but that was a very surreal moment
I
from
lost
this
my
summer.
chance.
But
Molly Beers, watch out. Me and Alyssa are coming for you. Yeah, but with David Wright, he was also David Wright was talking with Terry Collins, and he's getting older, as I said before, and he's not going to be expecting to play 180 games this season, not every single game. He's going to probably sit at around 30 games because he's getting older and we want him to be healthy. So he's expected to play 150 out of the 180 games this year. Last season, he hit an all-time low of home runs. He hit 8 home runs last season, and with a .269 batting average and 63 RBIs in the 2014 season. So, David Wright, you got to wake up, darling.
Step up. Did he? Because I know over this weekend, the Mets were trying to get him to be the face of the MLB again.
Yes. Oh my God.
I wonder. It was between him and Adam Jones.
That
from,
does nothing,
Baltimore.
though. Honestly,
I know, but it's just.
it.
I think it's just publicity for the Mets. It's just another way to bring some dollars into the franchise. But
I don't see any people coming to the stadium. Honestly,
they will be here this year. They will be. Are you working opening day this year?
I don't know yet.
Yeah.
Well, I would have to send an email to one of my professors, but. I
don't think I'm going to be able to this year, but it'll be my first one in like 4 years. I'm going to be sad if I don't get to go.
We're in the same class. Alyssa and I are in the same exact class, and she's being a good student.
I have 2 classes that only meet once a week, so I have to go.
I know she has to go. She has to leave me. But yeah.
Speaking of players who probably won't be playing the entire 180 games, A-Rod. We're looking at.
Oh, don't even talk about A-Rod. Don't even mention his name.
So this happened exactly a week ago today. It happened while we were on the air, actually. So we didn't even get to report it.
Yeah.
But A-Rod came out with an apology letter, a very interesting apology letter that Kara's going to read some of it or all of it for us. But just one thing I think is interesting about this now, I feel like a lot of the time he's being painted as a victim, which we'll talk about after you finish reading that.
Yes, I have a lot to say about A-Rod. I'm sorry, Yankee fans, but I think Yankee fans feel the same exact way. So A-Rod, he wrote a letter to the fans. It says, I take full responsibility for the mistakes that led to my suspension for the 2014 season. I regret that my actions made the situation worse than it needed to be. To Major League Baseball, the Yankees, the Steinbrenner family, the Players Association, and you, the fans, I can only say I'm sorry. I accept the fact that many of you will not believe my apology or anything that I say at this point. I understand why, and that's on me. It was gracious of the Yankees to offer me the use of Yankee Stadium for this apology, but I decided that next time I am in Yankee Stadium, I should be in pinstripes doing my job. I served the longest suspension in history of the league for PED use. The commissioner has said the matter is over. The Players Association has said the same. The Yankees have said the next step is to play baseball. I'm ready to put this chapter behind me and play some baseball. This game has been my single biggest passion since I was a teenager. When I go to spring training, I will do everything I can to be the best player and teammate possible, earn a spot on the Yankees, and help us win. Sincerely, Alex.
Just Alex.
That was adorable, and it was also handwritten in script,
which is the weirdest part about all of this. The Yankees offered him the stadium, the press rooms to use as a platform for him to say this apology.
Yeah.
And not only is it written, it's literally handwritten. It's not typed.
Yeah.
And it definitely it does. The thing is, I don't think he wrote it because I don't think that.
No, the handwriting was too good for him to write in.
Not even that. What PR representative would trust him to do that? You know what I mean? Like, even if someone looking over his shoulder, I wouldn't trust him to do it.
Yeah, because he might write something that
exactly. So
wasn't right.
Who did they hire to write that letter? But I like how if you see the live copy, not the live copy, like a picture of the actual copy of the letter, it's kind of the writing is slanted up as if, when you're not writing on loose leaf, you tend to not write in a straight line. I was like, wow, so they even calculated that part of into it to make it really seem like it was organically handwritten.
I know. Honestly, I'm sick of this A-Rod steroid thing. I think the only reason why A-Rod is part of the Yankees this year because the Yankees owe him $61 million.
It would be too much of a loss for him
too.
If this was George Steinbrenner's team, as much as I'm a Mets fan, he did a great job always with his teams.
No, he did. He got the players.
Right. But he's rolling over in his grave knowing that this is all going on because this is a PR nightmare for the Yankees, and they're the team that doesn't do that. You know what I mean? I feel like the perfect example. Derek Jeter is the poster child for the New York Yankees.
No, he is definitely.
But even the way he presented his career, he was always very private, very respectable to the media when they asked him. But it was never. There was always a boundary that
there was
he
never
set.
any controversy. Only controversy was like, what model was he dating now? It wasn't anything about his game. It was a little bit about his personal life, but it wasn't anything so scandalous.
Right.
But like with A-Rod, I feel like I was watching Mike Russo, an interview, and I totally agreed with him when he said that I feel like the fans are sick of it. The Yankee fans are sick of A-Rod, his apology. I think it was more for himself to make him feel better. Like, okay, I made this step. I apologize. Now let's play some baseball. But the only reason why he's playing, like I said, the Yankees owe him a bunch of money. They're not going to give a guy $60 million to sit on his butt at home watching a game. Like, he needs to go on the field and try to produce. So,
I think that if he is going to play any games this year, he's going to just be a DH because they have a third base, and they signed Chase. What's his name? Not Chase Utley. Was it Chase Utley from the A's? They signed a third baseman last year.
Okay.
So and when he arrived at spring training yesterday, they asked him. They were like, "How did you feel when you knew that the Yankees signed a third baseman? Was that kind of your notification that was like, okay, maybe I'm not. I do have to earn a spot on the team." But I have to say, in his interview from yesterday, he was very much. I don't have the interview up right now, but he was very respectable as far as trying to, he said, I had a conversation with him. We discussed. We just want to win. It was obviously he's been coached over and over again of what to say, what to avoid, how to.
Stuff.
Yeah.
He has to, unless there's going to be more controversy if he says something that wasn't, nice and respectful. If he says something that's out of the blue, then people are going to hate him even more.
And I just think that he's older. He hasn't played a full season since 2012.
Retire already, A-Rod, honestly. Wow, he's like, what, 39 years old, 40 years old?
Yeah, and this is almost 2 full seasons of him out of the league. His last time he played, he batted .272.
Yeah.
18 home runs, 57 RBIs, in just 122 games. But he, just with the media is not going to stop with this. This is something that, the Yankees are doing everything they can and try and cover this up by having the 3 numbers retired. Did you hear this? Andy Pettit, Jorge Posada, and Bernie Williams, I believe.
It's what the fans wanted. So the Yankee organization is going to give the fans what they want in return for their support.
And also, it's a way to mask.
Yeah, divert everybody's attention. Like, oh my God, my favorite player's number is going to be retired this year at Yankee Stadium. So they bring more fans in. But I feel like A-Rod, he dug his own grave. He did it to himself. This is what he's going to be known for, and that's it. No Hall of Fame for him. And if he's on that Hall of Fame ballot, I don't even.
If he's on the Hall of Fame ballot before Mike Piazza gets inducted to the Hall of Fame, there will be a huge issue
there's a problem
in this
with
radio
MLB.
room.
I'll say it right now.
That's a whole different conversation.
I know. I'm sorry. When I saw Barry Bonds on the ballot, I was like flipping out. 'Cause I'm like, come on, dude, he cheated. He has an asterisk on the ball in the Hall of Fame. Like, come on, guys. Okay.
I actually saw a quote that A-Rod sees Barry Bonds as a hitting scientist.
Yes, I saw that
I was
too.
like, interesting. You guys have lots
really
more in common than you think.
You probably exchange steroids together too. Why not? That makes it even better. More things for us to talk about. Okay. So what's next? What should we talk about next?
Maybe we'll take a break now and we'll play some. Since the MLB had some rule changes.
Okay.
So let's play some of the clips from the players talking about their impression of the rule changes. And when we'll come back, me and Kara will talk about what we think this means for the MLB and how this season is kind of going to go with these changes.
Yeah, and the rule changes, just to give you guys like a foreshadow of what's going to happen, it's to increase the pace of the game. So we'll see what the players think about it, and we'll be right back.
Well, I'm on the competition committee, and I'm also the chair of the rules committee, so I got to be a little careful about my comments generally. But I'm pleased that MLB was able to negotiate the pace of game changes they were able to negotiate and will be implemented this season at the major league level. And I'm also excited about the more aggressive changes that are taking place at AA and AAA.
Pace of game is something that baseball has been addressing for years, and I know it's really important to the commissioner and to the owners, and I think we have to respect that and try to do the best we can, and hopefully it is effective.
No one wants the game to be slower, no one wants to stay up later, but at the same time, there's things that we're focusing on, there's things that we have to do as players, and my mind isn't going to be on, if I'm taking too much time or not, my mind's going to be on the game.
With people that have long routines in between pitches or that try to regroup every time, it might be difficult, but I'm sure there will be some give and take depending on who the hitter is.
Without disrupting the game, we should do what we can to speed up the game. It has got a little long.
I understand it was a huge initiative of speeding this game up, and I'm a huge fan of it. I think it's necessary because that's what we're hearing from our fan base. So whatever we can do to speed the game up, we're not trying to drag the game on by what we have to do with the replay situation. I think it's going to be a little more streamlined just out of knowing the routine a little better.
I'm aware of the 3 rules that they're implementing. How it's going to have an effect on me personally, I don't think it's going to. I rarely step out of the box, so I don't think that's going to matter for me. But as far as the game, I think it will help pace it up.
We don't have issues with pace of game. Kansas City Royals have always been one of the better teams in terms of pace of game, so it's not going to be major adjustments for us. But they're good, because other teams, they are a bit slower. So I think that, trying to find ways to speed the pace of the game up, not necessarily the game, but the pace of the game, it's important to do. And I think that it's a good start.
Yeah, I consider myself, it took a little more time than the average person getting in the box, but I can adjust to the routine and sticking one foot in the box. We did it in the minor leagues, but usually it's for a routine, usually to think about what pitch is coming next.
For me, I'm a guy that works fast, so I don't really feel like it's going to really bug me too much. But, hopefully, it works out for, what they want it to work for. And I'm not a fan of it, but, it's out of my control, so you just got to deal with what you got to deal with.
I'm going to ignore the clock because I feel like that's been like the internal clock that we've been on, or I've been on my whole life.
It's the greatest game ever made. You don't need to mess with it. No one wants to come to a baseball game for 2 hours.
You play 162 games, you play 3-hour games. It's just kind of like golf. I mean, if you try and speed up rounds of golf, I mean, there's complications that come with it, but I think ultimately they're worried about the attention span of the fans, and I think at any moment they're trying to improve the game, they're trying to make it, more watched, they're trying to bring more money into the sport. I think anytime they're trying to make improvements, you gotta stand beside it and you gotta work with them.
I'm not a big fan of it, but we got guys up. I mean, we're representing Flo and I, and we help out with the decision making. But even in the end, it's the head honchos and the PA and our players that are a little bit higher up that make the decision. I'm an old school baseball player. You guys know that. There's a lot of thinking going on in the game. I get you try to keep the fan base. I understand that, but yeah, the fan base that understands that this is a thinking man's game, and when a pitcher steps on the rubber, there's a lot going on. There's thinking in the dugout. There's thinking, manager, first base coach, third base coach, and that's the beauty of the game. And why speed that up is beyond me, but I just work here. So I always say that I just work here. So
I like it. Get the ball and throw it.
All right, so welcome back, guys, to Throw Like a Girl. Well, so you guys heard the comments that a lot of players, coaches, and general managers made. So here's the overview of the new rules that MLB is about to set out. So to increase the pace of the game, umpires will enforce Rule 6.02, and I have that rule, which requires hitters to keep 1 foot in the box during an at-bat, subject to certain exceptions. Like, certain exceptions would be if the pitch actually moves the batter out of the batter's box, there's a wild pitch, if they get hit by a pitch.
They're stealing a base, things like that.
Yeah, things that happen during the game.
Things that aren't on the batter's terms.
Yeah. Things that force the batter out of the box. And also there will be timers will be used to ensure that the game resumes promptly at the end of inning breaks. And lastly, managers will no longer come out of the dugout to initiate a replay challenge. A manager will also keep his challenge after each call that is overturned. Last year, a challenge was retained only after the first overturned call.
I remember that rule was a nightmare at the beginning of last year because they kept changing it and changing it, and everyone was confused. Fans were confused because it just was unclear. But the rule last year was if you challenged the play and you won,
you would have another challenge.
You had another challenge.
Yeah.
But if you lost it, you were not allowed to challenge again, so that you couldn't challenge more than one play to delay not intentionally delay the game, but to make the game longer, because baseball's biggest challenge right now is trying to make the game more enticing to the younger fan because they're losing crazy TV ratings.
Yeah, and just to keep our attention and our focus on the game instead of going all crazy and going on our phones and things like that.
And this is also under the new commissioner, Rob Manfred.
Oh, so
yeah, so because Bob, I can never remember his name. Bud
Selig.
Yes, yeah. He was very much against changing anything of the game to make it faster because, but again, he was a much older gentleman. This guy's a little bit younger, not by much.
Yeah.
But that just seems to be, I don't know, because I feel like a lot, even when you're reading the rules, if someone who's a baseball fan, a casual baseball fan who doesn't know all the technicalities of the game, that's very hard to follow those rules.
No, it is. And I remember last year, like Citi Field, they said the new rules and the new changes before the game on the loudspeaker repeatedly, and I still don't even remember the rules, and I was there like 53 games. I don't even remember what was going on. I wasn't even focusing on that. But my opinion with these new rules, I don't like them. I feel like with the batter 1 foot in the box, it makes the thing faster, the game faster. The one thing that annoys me the most is when pitchers take 10 hours to throw a pitch. They lick their hand, they go run back and forth. I don't even know what they do. And it's like, God, just throw the pitch already. That's what frustrates me. And I feel like this is not doing anything for the pitchers.
No, I totally agree with that. It is also the people who work. We have a very different perspective since we now work at the stadium.
Yeah.
So the length of the games mean a lot to us. Whether if we're going in a day and we want to make some money, make the game, go into extra innings.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have plans after work and you want to make sure you're out. Dice K from the New York Mets, he is I think he's statistically is the second slowest pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. And I remember making my schedule strategically so that I would not have to work on the games he was pitching, because he would and he would often pitch because he was one of the better ones before he got hurt.
Yeah.
On a weekend.
Thank God he got hurt. I'm sorry for my sake.
And the weekend games are normally longer just because they are usually in the middle of the day. The TV puts more commercials into them, so things like that. But I think that the game needs to be faster. Yes. Do I think this is how you do it? No, because like I said, it's hard to follow the rules as it is, which makes me think that the transition is just going to be like very
It's going to make
rough.
the game even longer with the transition because people are going to understand. And
Right.
with the keep one foot in the batter's box for hitters, and if they don't follow this, they get a strike if they don't follow it, or they get a warning if they don't follow it. And it's like, what? Honestly, with calling a strike on them, I don't like that.
That's the penalty, right?
Yeah,
so if
that's
you,
the penalty.
If
It's
you
giving the other
break
team an
the
advantage.
rule, yeah.
I don't
So if
like
you
that.
break the rule, then you're going to be penalized with a strike for the pitcher.
Yeah, or warning. So it's probably going to be a lot of warnings this year. And maybe
Yeah.
next year they're really going to be like, okay, now the year of the new rules, you're going to do this. But I just
yeah. I mean, I agree with you on that. I also think it's just such a weird point for baseball right now because it's far enough where we've had a couple of seasons, several seasons without players using steroids, PEDs, things like that. But it's too close to the era where they did use it so much that the statistics like speak to this drastic change in the sport. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like it's hard for people to be like, well, baseball sucks to watch now because there's no offense because pitchers are better. The game is a pitching game now.
Yeah.
And players are not using PEDs and steroids.
Yeah.
So it's such a weird period because they can't compare stats. They're still comparing stats to when there was performance-enhancing drugs being used.
Yeah, which there shouldn't be.
Right. When they're still comparing those, but yet you're in a point where no one is using them. So it's just a very odd period for baseball. They're trying to make it faster just because football is such a fast game. And another thing, they always are talking about the replay of baseball and how it makes the game slower. But think about it. When you watch football, how many times do you see a replay of a play?
Yeah.
How many times?
It's not.
I feel like
I don't know.
see
Sometimes you like when the game's on the line, they'll throw the flag on the field.
Yeah.
I feel like when it's like a very important place, but I don't know. With me,
I just think that it's I mean it's coming different from both of us. We love baseball. I don't want to change the game so much but I do want to go to games and I do want to see offense. So I don't think it's a point of making the pace faster. I think it's a matter of trying to figure out how do you increase offense.
Like how do you?
But you can't really do when the league is so concentrated on pitching. It's just a hard situation to fix.
Let's just I feel like back then when baseball was just simple, I think we should just go back to the old way baseball was played, honestly.
With steroids now.
No, not with steroids. Like back with like Babe Ruth era. Come on. Like back then, not like when steroids. I feel like now they're making it more technologically based and things like that. So accurate and
so very much heavily involved in stats. Yeah, I agree with that as well.
I hate that. And the only thing like I complained before is just the pitching. They take 10 years to throw a pitch. I feel like there should be a pitching clock because in the minors they started doing that. I was reading something with the minors in the there was clocks. Whoa. There was clocks in like the Arizona. We're using the Arizona Fall League, AA and AAA, that gave pitchers time to give them time to pitch the ball. I think that should be utilized. That's what I thought when they meant to speed up the pace of the game, not doing all this nonsense about instant replays and keeping one foot in the batter's box and timers. And I don't understand that. They're just making it so technical. It's killing the game.
That's another thing too. Like this is this point in the season when the season didn't really start yet, but it's right before the season is the worst part of the year. I feel like football, hockey, basketball, they do a great job of anticipating up to their season. Yeah. But baseball, it just drowns it in stats.
It's killing me now. All these new rules coming out. It's just MLB, you got to stop. Just go back to the old way. Like during the old way, when without the stats, there was more fans at the game. I feel like it was more fun.
It's better for a casual fan if you don't have all these numbers constantly thrown at you.
I know it's.
I read an article the other day on ESPN about the wins above replacement statistic, which I think is the most absurd statistic. It's very complicated. Before I read it, I was like kind of aware of what that meant, kind of not aware what it meant. But it's like they had this this whole projection of every player on their team and their possibility of the score, that basically it's a score that weighs whether or not they would contribute heavily to a win for the Mets based on how much they're meaning to the team.
That's nonsense.
Exactly,
though.
because there's so many factors that play into it.
I know, and we're not robots though.
Exactly.
Like we're human beings and we play the game. Like some people have bad days and some people have good days, and we're not going to be consistent every single game.
Right.
And you're playing like 180 games, 82 games a year. That's a lot of games, and the human body is just.
And they had Harvey's WAR wins above replacement rating as a 16. This guy is coming off of Tommy John surgery, and
yes.
for my sake, I hope he does have a 16 WAR rating this year. But
yeah, me too.
I don't think that's. I mean, I hope it's possible, and I think it will be, but it's like there's just so much that plays into that number.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous that there's this whole long article that people read, and that's something that the crazy baseball fan looks to read, not the casual
like
fan.
The
And
movie, like the movie Moneyball.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
You need to the way they're going to want to. If they want more TV ratings because they want the big TV contracts, that's the end goal. Because like we said last week, it is a business. At the end of the day, it's a profit motive.
Yeah.
So they need to appeal to a casual fan, and by throwing all these numbers down your throat,
it's gonna make me confused. I'm like, what's like a ball and strike now? I don't understand. They're probably gonna change something about that. But like also with all these new statistics and these crazy numbers, I feel it's also something to talk about, because
That's true.
When you're announcing a game, there's a lot of airtime to fill, and I've experienced that firsthand.
Because it is so slow.
And there's a lot of airtime to fill, and like when you're watching a game, don't you get sick of announcers keep saying the same exact thing over and over again? It's like, dude, I heard that like 2 minutes ago, like who they're playing the next game, the stat. Like I've heard that, like even when I'm watching hockey games, Sam Rosen and Joe Micheletti repeat themselves constantly, and while you're watching a whole hockey game, it gives you a headache. So with these new stats, it's also kind of beneficial for the announcer because it's something else for them to talk about and to fill that airtime, because it's very hard to do. But it's just a pain in the butt for just, like you said, like a casual fan who just wants to watch a game and just enjoy the sport. Nothing about. And sometimes I go to Citi Field to get away from like the nonsense at home. You know what I mean? And like I don't mind if the game is long, but I just want it to be more exciting. If it's an exciting game, totally.
Because baseball is also, going to a baseball game is an experience. It's supposed to be an experience. It's a milestone in American life. When you always have, I mean, at least I have, when I went to I have a picture at my first baseball game, I have the ticket, you know what I mean? Like you keep those things. When people come from other countries to visit America, they go to baseball games
all
because
the time. I've noticed.
That's an American thing to do. So it's an experience. It's not only just something for the crazy fan.
Yeah, it isn't. You're 100% right. And also, if I'm paying like $500 to sit behind home plate, I don't want the game to be like an hour and a half, and I just spent $500 to watch a baseball game, because now we're increasing the pace of the game due to the fact because we want fans to pay attention. But when I'm at Citi Field, even Yankee Stadium, there's things for other things for the fans to do. Like we have obviously Fan Fest. We have different areas to eat, clubs to go. It's a whole day out. And if we're increasing the pace of the game, then
there's no time to do any of those
things. And these clubs are going to be losing money too.
Exactly.
You know?
It's a very weird predicament to be in. It's they're just trying to figure out ways to make this sport back to being the most popular sport.
And
it's
it
never
might not
going to
work.
pass football. Actually,
No,
it might
it's not.
pass football once concussions get really serious, and that's not, like I said.
Yeah,
it's
once they
another
water
conversation.
down football and their rules,
exactly.
That's when people are going to be like, oh, let's watch baseball. But maybe it's just because it's just a very long season. Like, there's a game every single day.
That's what, yeah. And
a lot it's just hard to follow sometimes because we don't have the time to do that.
A lot of people are even saying that they should cut the games from an absurd amount to an insane amount, which I don't know. I mean, like 100. I can't imagine April without baseball or October without baseball. And if you cut the games, then you probably would have one of those months without it. But I don't know. Like I don't know I really don't know what the best answer is to be. I would say probably the pitch clock. But then
I like the pitch clock the best out of all.
But
these
you risk the
suggestions.
chance of injuring your pitchers if you're having them throw quicker. There's always that problem of them getting injured. So it's just there's all these little it's a catch-22 kind of. There's all these little things that contribute to, the potential solution that makes it not a solution and another problem.
Yeah, because pitchers do have their superstitions, but I feel like if they stopped like touching themselves like 10 times before they throw a pitch, like just take out some things away from your routine, guys, and just that's the big thing. It's just pitchers taking so long to throw a pitch. I can't. They do they throw the pitch. The pitch takes 2 seconds to throw. Then they take another 10 minutes to throw the second pitch, and that's why this game is taking so long. It's not the batters. It's not anything with throwing, like, starting, what is it? What were the challenging the play? And it's not with all of that. It's just, it's the pitchers taking so long. So
and I also think it feels longer because there's no offense. So you literally feel like you're just watching someone pitch and you're watching another guy pitch all the time.
Yeah.
I feel it would definitely break it up and it would seem quicker if you are into it because there's someone hit a home run, someone got a double, somebody scored. You know what I mean? Like there's that aspect to it too. There's that mental side of it where it is just as long, but there's just a lot more going on.
Yeah, so Major League Baseball, you guys need to get it together.
Figure out something else.
Figure out something because this is not working for me or Alyssa, and you guys should listen to us because we are right 99.9% of the time. Well, I think that's enough for our rants for baseball. So we will be taking a quick break. We're going to let you guys listen in to some NHL highlights from
the past
this week. Yeah.
Yep.
So, so thank you for listening in to Throw Like a Girl, Brooklyn College Radio's first female talk show. So we'll be right back, and we're going to talk about New York Rangers hockey, too.
It is now time for our best of the week. And Jamal, we start with our best game of the week. There's no doubt about this one. We've got 10-plus goals, 80-plus shots. The New York rivalry is back in full gear, and this was an unbelievable game.
Absolutely. Back and forth action. The rivalry is renewed once again. You got to like this hockey game. Both teams, a lot at stake, a lot of goals, 6-5. What's not to like? A couple of dust-ups as well, a little fisticuffs. You've got to like these two teams, the fact that they're both playing extremely well. That was a fantastic game.
First and second in the Metropolitan Division entering Sunday. Meaningful games again, and they put on an absolute show. 11 goals, so many shots, such an offensive explosion. It was a ton of fun to watch. Speaking of a ton of fun to watch, our best experience of the week, you know where we're going for this one. Santa Clara, California. It's the outdoor game, California hockey outside.
And great timing. Look at the scene out there. It's San Francisco, Santa Clara, where the 49ers play. What a great scene and what a great display and what a meaningful hockey game as well.
Yeah.
Think about it. Where these two teams are in the standings, the San Jose Sharks fighting for their life, and who shows up with the game-winning goal but Marian Gaborik. But what a great festivity that was at the outdoor game. They did a great job once again in the National Hockey League. It's amazing to think another game outside in California. Must be nice.
Must be nice. Nice job if you can get it, right?
Exactly.
The San Jose Sharks, LA Kings. The Kings have won 7 straight games. They're on an absolute roll right now. It's time now. Andrew Hammond, he's the best story of the week. There's not much doubt about this. Ottawa Senators, young kid, gets his first 2 NHL wins, playing some great hockey, filling in for a couple of injured goaltenders.
Yeah, absolutely. And you wonder, could he do the job? Obviously, he steps in there. Young guy doing a great job, making himself big, giving his team a chance to win. And that's what happens when teams are kind of virtually out of the playoffs. You get a chance to see these young guys in the NHL. That's a great opportunity for Hammond to step in there. And you got to like the depth of goaltending that they have. Obviously, him being able to step up there and get the victories with a 2.113 goals against average. Obviously, there's not a lot to be happy with the Ottawa Senators, but that's certainly a bright spot for them is the play of Hammond as of late.
Craig Anderson, Robin Lehner, both out, and yes, stepping in is Hammond, having a great couple of games for the Ottawa Senators. Our best comeback of the week, this is something that hasn't been done in, about 80 years. The Detroit Red Wings, 2 separate 2-goal comebacks, deficits that they faced in the third period on Saturday against the Dallas Stars, and they make a great comeback.
Absolutely, and you're playing against a team that certainly has the firepower to do it and a great goaltender, but the Wings just keep coming, and they find a way to get it done. You mentioned it, down 2 goals twice. They get it done by getting to the front of the net, paying a price. Justin Albuquerque leading the charge there as well, but obviously this is a group that has the confidence that they can come back from any game. They're never really out of the game. You've got to give the Detroit Red Wings credit. They found a way to get the job done, and it's about that perseverance and adhering to that structure that they play with that gives them a chance to win these hockey games. But coming back twice like that, it's amazing.
Detroit Red Wings still battling to gain ground.
Throw Like a Girl Radio, WBCR's first all-female sports talk show, is back with you here on Brooklyn College Radio, WBCR, from 4 to 5 p.m. With you right now is myself, Alyssa Paolicelli, and Galante.
Hi.
And we're going to talk some more hockey. It's our favorite time of the hour.
Yeah, so I know everybody is waiting for the Galante either to offer Matt Zuccarello an extension on his contract, but sources have said they're not remotely close on contract talks. The Blue Shirts have believed to have offered Zuccarello $4 million and $4.25 million per year on a 4-year contract, while the 27-year-old winger is working on a 1-year deal worth $3.5 million. Right now, he's getting paid $3.5 million. Is seeking well in excess of $5 million per year and for a long-term contract. So far the discussions are amicable. They haven't been like any tension going on.
That's
so we'll see what happens with Zook. I hope we make a deal very soon. And also we have an injury update on Henrik Lundqvist, guys. I know we're all waiting for his return. So on Monday he worked on the ice for 45 minutes with goaltending coach Benny Allaire. It's just to maintain his condition and stuff, and there hasn't been anything scheduled with the doctor for a checkup yet. So things are moving along, but not as fast as we want them to be. And Jesper Fast also the other day took part in practice wearing a yellow non-contact jersey because he sprained his knee. And he's due to come back soon. So we need Jesper Fast to come back so Tanner Glass could be a healthy scratch again. Yes. Okay. So everybody, what do we all think about Mr. Ginger Scaps, Mackenzie Skapski on his NHL debut? Yeah,
you better make sure you get credit for that, because if I hear them, be like, Kara invented it.
I actually saw it on like a Weebly Blue thing, so I'm gonna give credit to them. I just love that name. And so what do we think, Alyssa? What do you think about it?
I think that I don't know. I felt so bad when they scored in the first. It was really quick, 11 seconds maybe. The other team scored, and I was like, oh man, like he's probably so nervous. I would be so nervous. He's 20 years old, making his first NHL debut, and then he gets the win on his dad's birthday, his dad's 47th birthday.
Yes. Oh, it's like
I was not that I was surprised that he got a start, because Cam Talbot definitely needed the break. He's been letting by a lot of goals. But I don't know. He did a lot better after that first.
Yeah, the nerves left him, but thank God the Rangers. I would like to thank you for not playing in your zone for most of the game, because that first goal scared me to death. I'm like, oh my God, this kid is gonna give up so many goals,
and it's against Buffalo.
Yeah, so thank God for that. So we have some of his comments after his post-game win. So here they are.
There have been probably 1,000 emotions running through this guy, and the smile has not gotten off Mackenzie's face all day. Summarize some of those emotions that you've felt and even feel now.
I would say 2 days ago I was more nervous than I was before the game today. I was still a little bit nervous in the first period, when they scored the first goal on the first shot. That's not the start I'd want, but I started fighting the puck a little bit in the first, and the second and third I was just adjusted to my game and was calm, cool, and collected.
So that was Mackenzie Skapski wearing the Broadway hat, the hat that the Rangers give to the player they think most deserving from that game.
Yes, and he was deserving of it. He did play an all right game for his NHL debut. But
he stopped 24 shots after his first goal that he let by.
Yes,
which it's just pretty good for your first outing. I mean, again, it was against Buffalo, so you have to take that into account.
He was a little shaky, but what do you expect from a 20-year-old? So I'm proud of him. We see the youth that is coming up from Hartford. So I was very impressed with the way he handled himself on such a big stage. He's 20 years old. With me, I would have been freaking out. So since I'm also 20 years old, so I'd be going crazy. But they won against Buffalo 3-1. So that was the only goal that was allowed by Matt Molson. Scored that one, so that kind of hurt because he was on the Islanders and I couldn't stand him. So yes, so it was a very good game. And also I want to bring up a stat which is awesome. So after the game against Columbus, which they played on Sunday, right?
Yes,
against
Sunday.
Columbus. After that game, the Rangers are now 36-16-6. So at this time last year, last year we went to the Stanley Cup final. We were 31-24-3. So we are 5 games above what we were last year, which is awesome. So I'm very happy about that. And the only thing the Rangers need to do with Cam Talbot in net is, as I always say this, and it's always their problem, they have to be more consistent, because they fail to put together 60 minutes of just solid hockey play. They always collapse or they do some crazy penalty. So they just have to be more consistent. And I think that's like the major problem.
That is true, and I think Cam Talbot has done a great job giving us, his job as a backup is just give us a chance to win the games, and he's done that thus far.
Yes.
But the goals that he allowed in the Columbus game, he should have had. There was 3 goals scored. He should have had 2 of them.
No doubt about that.
But it was great that he got the shootout win, because he hasn't been that great in shootouts.
Oh, he's horrible in shootouts. I'm gonna be like totally. I'm like, Cam, please don't ever get into a shootout ever again, because if that shot, what was his name? Ryan Johansson.
He's so good, though.
Yeah, he
He's
shot
so
it. It
good.
hit the crossbar. If that shot went in, the game would have been over. We would have been done with the shootout. So the hockey gods were on our side, and also Alyssa, you were there. So
yeah, I had a great seat, so I was kind of happy that we had a shootout because I wasn't happy we had a shootout. I'd rather just get the full 2 points, not give anybody else the other point. But it was great seeing the view of the shootout from my seat.
Yes, it was.
And Kara saw me on TV.
Yes, I did. It was great. It was great for me to see.
I don't even know how she saw me because my own parents didn't even see me. And then she texted me and I was like, Mom, we got to make sure you record it.
Yeah, the Rangers have been playing pretty well. I'm very proud of this team and hope that we are consistent, because we are 2 games out of first place with the Islanders and we have 3 games up at hand.
Woo!
So Islander fans, be aware and be ready
scared.
Yes. Woo. Okay. I don't know why I made that noise. So also the Rangers have called up Oscar Lindberg from
that's
media
like breaking news.
Yes, Oscar Lindberg has been called
from
up
us first.
from Hartford Wolfpack. So he's been playing pretty well too. And also a lot of people are saying that just keep Oscar Lindberg up. He's a forward. He's been playing pretty well this year in Hartford with 16 goals and 20 assists in 54 games. Instead of getting a rental player and giving up JT Miller for a rental player, which I think is absurd. Just keep Oscar Lindberg up and we'll see what happens. So, guys, forget about Ranger talk right now, because we found an article and we have a new segment we want to start with. And what is it called, Alyssa?
Confessions of Female Sports Fans.
Yes.
We might have to work on the name a little bit. It's a little long, but
yeah,
for now, that's what it's interim name.
Yeah, it's a new segment we came up. Actually, Alyssa came up with the name. I'm just going with it. So we found this article. Actually, Alyssa found this article, which was kind of awesome. It was talking about women in the sports industry. And it was about how a woman named Katie Nolan, she had her own radio show or podcast or something beforehand. And
where she would do kind of what we're doing right now, just basically highlight other females in the industry and just talk about how great they are.
Yeah, so congratulations, Katie Nolan, because Fox 1 announced that she will be getting a weekly sports show.
But they gave it to her on Sunday on 9:30 at night. They kind of, that's another annoying thing. They set her up, not for failure, but it's a very hard time slot to get good ratings for.
It's like they threw her a bone, or they're trying to set her up for failure in a kind of a way, because I don't know, women in sports have become popular these past couple of years. I've seen a lot of women as sports commentators and parts of radio shows, but
they're always, I was actually telling Kara before we started the show, when I went to the game on Sunday, when I walked in at MSG, they had NHL Network playing, and Catherine
Tappan, she's my girl.
Catherine Tappan,
my girl, Catherine Tappan. Shout out to Catherine Tappan.
Yeah, hopefully she'll follow the show. We tweeted her.
Yes,
so maybe
she never
maybe now that
me.
she gets a shout out, she'll follow the show back. But anyway, so she was basically hosting the NHL Network show, but instead of being the person they asked for an analysis and an expertise, she was the one asking. And I was like, the table should be turned. She knows enough. She's around the sport enough to know what needs to be done in a certain game for a team to be successful.
Yeah, and Katie Nolan, she was on a show called Crowd Goes Wild. It's canceled now. It was also on Fox 1 Sports, and Regis Philbin was a part of it too, so it was a little bit popular. And Katie Nolan, she's good at what she does. She's very upbeat, and she knows her stuff, this girl. But yeah, I really enjoy her tweets. She's pretty funny. She's a big Patriots fan, but yeah, and there was also, what was it, a conference or something they had when you were reading this article? What else did you see?
Yeah, they basically, the article from SportsIllustrated.com, Richard Dychek, he basically had a panel of a bunch of young women in the sports journalism field, and it was basically just asking them a bunch of questions about their experience, and it was interesting. I mean, a lot of them had said that they had faced some type of sexual discrimination at some point, and a lot of the time they feel like they're more focused on their appearance and their work. But overall, it seemed like they feel positive about the industry as far as moving forward. And but one thing that was interesting at the end of the article, all of their bosses were male, with the exception of one. She had 2 bosses. One was male, one was female. So interesting article to check out. We can post it on our Facebook page later.
Yeah, it's a Sports Illustrated article, so we know it's legit, guys. And I just feel you're right. I feel like it's, with women in this industry, it's half the way you look, in a way. And I feel like with the guys in the sports industry, they're not the way they look. I don't know. There's something about looks, but we'll touch on that subject in the next show, because we have a lot to talk about with women in the sports industry, and I feel like we have a voice and we want it to be heard because we know about sports too, guys. So watch out for us. And I think
we're out of time
I know,
already.
we're out
This
of
hour goes by
time.
so quick every week.
I know. I wanted to rant more.
We have so much stuff we want to go over, and half the time we don't even get to it because we get so heated about MLB rule changes.
Oh my
and
God, I went
Zuccarello
nuts.
possibly being traded.
I think my blood pressure just went
Yeah,
through
you
the
should
roof.
have eaten carrot
So-
between breaks. She's all flushed in her face.
I might have to go to the doctor after this. Thank you, MLB. I'll be sending you my doctor bill. All right? So thank you so much for listening to Throw Like a Girl Radio, WBCR's first all-female sports talk show. Woohoo! I am Katie Galante.
And I'm Alyssa Paolicelli.
And we'll be back same time, same place next Tuesday from 4 to 5 p.m. Let us know what you thought about our show on our social media outlets. Facebook.com/ThrowLikeAGirl, Twitter @ThrowLikeA_girl, and Instagram, Throw Like a Girl Radio. We will be posting all our episodes of Throw Like a Girl on SoundCloud by the beginning of next week. Check our social pages for updates. Tune in tomorrow at 7 for the Good Vibe with
Ryan McGee, and Thursday at 5 for Heat and Ace Radio. It's Faraz Tour.
Yeah, so come back next week, guys. Please listen, and listening to us on mywbcr.com or downloading the TuneIn Radio app and search Brooklyn College Radio. Have a great week, and please follow our social networking.
Yeah, and watch the Rangers tonight. They're playing Calgary.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good
should
game.
be a good game.
So thanks, guys. Bye.
Till next week.